Please, Dave.
So yesterday you added a number of names to the Magnitsky list of sanctions. The Russians obviously have protested angrily. I don't know whether you want to count a protest or protest, but the two of the names that you on the list, Mr. Lugovoy and Mr. Kovtun, were accused by the British government of having poisoned Mr. Litvinenko and a freelance former spy in London 10 years ago. The British inquiry also named the man who ordered, or certainly approved of the assassination, Mr. Vladimir Putin. Was any discussion made about putting Mr. Putin's name on the Magnitsky list? This is your last chance.
So, as with all designations, the U.S. government relies on multiple credible sources of information. Look, I think, how I put this, I think we'll continue to examine this and other cases involving gross violations of human rights, determine whether we have enough sufficient information indicating that other individuals linked to these cases meet the Magnitsky Act's criteria.
But they're acting on behalf of a Russian government, which has a leader.
I understand. I think I'll leave it there. I think we're going to continue to look hard at, and as you noted, we did publish, I think, 5 new individuals added to the list yesterday.
So that's like an annual update, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It
so
is.
That's the last
it is.
batch that this administration will put on.
It is. It is. It is. I mean, I'm tempted to respond to the first aspect of your question, which was, you had mentioned, you had mentioned the Russian government's, I think the Kremlin's indignation about the state of U.S.-Russia relations and the kind of implication that we're just doing this, striking out at Russia to further harm U.S.-Russia relations. And frankly, I find this kind of like look back in sorrow act and rhetoric a little bit overblown and a hard stomach. I mean, we're carrying out sanctions, the Magnitsky Act, the actions we took a week ago, 2 weeks ago, regarding Russia's cyber attack on U.S. electoral processes and continued harassment of our diplomats, and then going back further, the sanctions that we have about or have still in place regarding Ukraine and Crimea are all taken for a reason, and it's not just to poke a stick at Russia. It's meant to draw attention to some of their actions that we believe run counter to international law and the international community standards. And we're not backing away from any of those actions that we've taken. And in fact, it's been Russia that has taken action specifically that have damaged bilateral relations. And we talked a little bit about them when we announced some of the actions 2 weeks ago, that they've closed down all of our American spaces. They've harassed our diplomats. They've shut down some of our bilateral exchanges, like the FLEX program, which was a hugely successful high school student exchange program for no reason other than, I think, just to strike back. And so I don't want to overplay this or whatever, or overstate this, but I think it's a bit hard to listen to some of the rhetoric that we've heard from various Russian spokespeople about our intentions here. Our intentions, as I said, are to use these sanctions, to use some of these actions to call attention to Russia's bad behavior, but also to respond to Russia's aggressive actions in the cyber area and against our diplomats. So I'll leave it there. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.